everyone, you all are most welcome in this class of social process. Here we will discuss about social process. As you know, there are two types of social process, positive or negative. We should know how people come in contact. Already I have discussed. First of all, people influence one another. After influence, they come in contact. After contact, they influence each other, and after influence, they act. And after action, interaction has been happened, and after interaction there is a relationship, and relationship for a long time become a process. So here we will discuss about the process. As you listen, cooperation, when you meet someone and you are in contact and in a relationship, then the relationship is based on what kind of process. Either it is cooperation, or it is competition, or it is conflict. So here we will understand in detail about social process. When a person comes in contact with another person, there is a consensus of thought and feeling between them. There is some consciousness of kind. In this, both affect, influence each other. You must pay attention upon this. This is called social interaction. Influence each other and social differences. There are three conditions. First, person between person. Second, person between group. Person between person. Second, person between group. And third, group. In all three situations, there are frequent interaction between them. So interaction, or you can say action, is the unit for social process. Social process are different form of social interaction. Actually, it depends upon the interaction. When a person or group established contact with with another person or group, there is difference between them. They influence each other with thought, feeling, action, resulting in change in their behavior. This change manifests a camaraderie, conflict, competition, adaptation, adjustment, cooperation, etc. Hence, social process, there is no new notion but different form of social interaction. You must understand. Again and again, it is the form of social interaction. The person contacts various individual or group to fulfill their needs. And due to the need, this lead to a difference between them. The difference action can be in any form, cooperation, conflict, etc. Difference form of action are known as social processes. That is, social process cannot be understood as separate from social interaction. Various sociologists have clarified the social process. McIver page, here we can understand the scientist view. McIver page wrote explaining the process, a process which means continuous change, which occur in certain way by activation of the power already existing in a given state. This definition makes it clear that process is changing in which continuity and certainty exist. In the word of Gillen and Gillen, social process refers to the ways of interaction we observe when there is contact between individual and groups. Consequently, a system of social relationship. What I have told you earlier, after interaction there is a relationship established, and relationship is after a while it becomes process. Either it is cooperative or non-cooperative. Lundberg, the process has the same meaning. A specific and predictive result is an index of related event leading to. Green wrote about the process. The social process are a specific form of social interaction. Interaction is the core for social process. So, here we should go. It is clear from above definition that the process is a continuous and definite change in social belief. One thing in this context is social process does not have to permanent. It is not permanently due to the changes in circumstances. The social process change. Always there is no cooperation in society or in any kind of interaction in your friendship. For example, cooperation turns into conflict. Cooperation turns into conflict and conflict into cooperation. Human social life is influenced by social process in one way or the other way. There are two effective aspects of social process. Social interaction. There must be social interaction and communication. Social interaction can be anything positive or negative. In the absence of communication, contact remains incomplete. And the mere interaction does not lead to complete social process. So for social process, interaction and frequent interaction that make relationship is very important. And that relationship become positive or negative, cooperation or conflict. Types of social process. So here we can see sociologists have divided social process into two classes: organizational collaborated social process, or you can say integrated or associated social process, or disruptive or disintegrated social process. And you also can say cooperative social process and non-cooperative social process. Integrative social process, in which cooperation is very important. Cooperation is an organizational social process. Cooperation is seen in all areas of social life. Man cannot fulfill his need alone. For this, he has to cooperate with other people. It is required. When a person is born, he comes to earth in a helpless form. He has to depend on the other people for maintenance. Personality only with the support of family, proper development take place. Social life cannot be imagined in the absence of cooperation. Today's world cannot survive without cooperation. To see the contribution of social process, cooperation at national and international level, new form of cooperation have emerged. Sociologists have defined this in their own word to clarify cooperation. Here I will see some definition. Feature. According to feature, cooperation is that form of social process in which two or more individual groups work together to achieve common purpose. Work together for achieving common purpose. More than two people or group is needed for working together for achieving goal. Fairchild. Cooperation is a process by which individual or group become more or less organized and make concerted effort to achieve their common objective. And Green, giving definition, Merrill, cooperation can be defined as a social interaction in which two or more individuals work together for achieving goal, to achieve a common goal. So It is clear from this definition that cooperation is a social process in which two or more individuals or groups work together to achieve a common goal. In order for a process to be called cooperation, it is necessary to have the following things. So you must remember, in every exam it is asked, especially in UGC NET or a different kind of competition, you have to understand concept clear. Under cooperation, social interaction between individuals is necessary. Social interaction is necessary. Cooperation empower the group with this big goal can be easily achieved. Goal can be achieved. It is necessary to have common objective and goal for cooperation. People with common purpose work together to achieve goal. It is a universal process. Cooperation is found in every society of the world. Cooperation is found in society where conflict and tension is always there. Cooperation is a social process based on equal desire. Must understand. Cooperation is not possible unless there is no internal desire under the person. Cooperation is a relatively long-lasting process as conflict in compared to conflict. Momentary cooperation cannot be called a social process. For this, it is necessary to have some stability. So, for a short moment, you cannot say it is cooperation. Cooperation has some stability. For cooperation, it is necessary to have two sides. That is, cooperation is possible at the small level between two persons, or between two nations, or between two groups. There should be two sides. Characteristics of cooperation. Here we will see the highlight and some key features of cooperation. So, two or more persons are required in cooperation. You must remember this point, to have two or more persons or group for cooperation. In society, between person to person, between person to group, between group to group, there is mutual interaction and exchange of feelings and thought. Exchange cannot take place in absence of another person or persons. A person cannot do anything alone. Therefore, there is cooperation between individual and groups only. Common goal. The basis of cooperation is the common goal. Due to common goal, individuals support each other. The goal remains to bind the person in all circumstances. An individual or group is organized for a common goal and strives to achieve it. If there is no clear goal in front of them, they will not be able to make concerted effort. A person is not motivated to work without goal. So, common goal is necessary condition for cooperation. Wide interest. Cooperation not only protect the interest of the individuals, but also protect the interest of the group or society. Through the process of cooperation, the person fulfills his interest and at the same time, with his inspiration, makes society organized. Its effect is seen at national and international level also. Diversity. Diversity is found in cooperation. There are different forms of cooperation, different occasion and situation. Cooperation is not completely the same in the level of idea of action. So, it has diversity of character. We have a feeling of cooperation as a result of working inspired by common goal. A we feeling arises among individual or group by awakening our spirit. Organized effort. In cooperation there is organized effort. So we look the main point. Continuity. As you know, cooperation is a long process, ongoing process. It is not a short moment process. So it is continued process. Mutual help. In cooperation, there is a feeling of mutual help and cooperation. Inspired by will, cooperation depends on the will of the individual. Every person has his own requirement which he fulfills according to his will. Cooperates with each other to fulfill these needs. Hence, he cooperates with others according to the need or goal he wants to achieve. Hence, cooperation is voluntary feeling inspired by will. The person does not cooperate when there is no desire. Now we will see the types of cooperation. Many types of cooperation are found between individuals and groups. Different sociologists have discussed different types and forms of cooperation, and the type and form made by some prominent sociologists are being mentioned. McIver Page, the big name, discussed two types of cooperation. This is collaboration in place of cooperation. Actually, cooperation is the sahi, real term. McIver Page discussed two types of cooperation, direct and indirect. That is direct and indirect. Direct cooperation, when different individual or group work together face to face with, we call it direct relationship. For example, playing a sport, participating in cultural program, farming together. Everyone while playing the game cooperates directly. That is direct with each other. Similarly, when many people present a drama or dance together in a cultural event, there is also a direct connection between them. So if someone is playing drama, so people will come together and directly cooperate and talk. Meaning to say it is that when motivated by the same objective and goal, the individual and the group help each other through face-to-face relationship. In family, family members work together for cooking, for learning, for entertainment. That is direct cooperation. Indirect cooperation, when individual or group work separately for the same purpose, separately, it is indirect cooperation. Suppose there is a school and there are so many teachers. They are teaching in a school, but they are teaching in the same school for purpose of education. All have the same purpose, for making learn to students, for teaching, for giving the education, same purpose. And a student go to class, that is why you will find here that it is indirect cooperation. All teachers are not cooperating directly. They are indirectly cooperating to school. When an individual or group works separately, this is to say that in direct cooperation, people have the same interim goal, but perform different tasks differently. Take a shoe factory, for example. In this factory, different people are engaged in different tasks. With this, then the shoes is ready. Here, division of labor is found among the people. Everyone achieves their task with a skill. Thus, wherever the division of labor is found, be it office or factory, have the same purpose or goal, but they are engaged in different type of work. Here all people cooperate each other indirectly. The division of labor and specialization has become more prevalent in modern society. As a result, the importance of indirect cooperation is increasing day by day. The direct relationship between individuals decreases as the secondary relationship predominates. In such a situation, there is indirect cooperation between them. That is, people cooperate each other indirectly. Here, a scientist Green mentioned three types of cooperation: primary cooperation, secondary cooperation, and tertiary cooperation. In primary cooperation, The person considers the selfishness of the group has its own selfishness. Own selfishness. Under this, instead of thinking of personal interest, the group talk about tomorrow goes. Primary cooperation is found in primary group, in family. This type of cooperation sacrifices his greatest happiness, facility for the group. This type of cooperation is found among the family members. Secondary cooperation. In secondary cooperation, an individual or group cooperate with other individual and group for fulfillment of their selfishness and interest for their personal advantage. In this type of cooperation, the person inspired by his selfishness means there is personal advantage. But in primary cooperation, there is no personal advantage, that they work together or cooperate without any personal interest, for common personal interest. For, you can say, in the family, they are doing for the happiness of the family members. So here there are many examples of this type of cooperation in modern society. Such a cooperation between different organizations and parties. In such organization or institution, the person cooperate with each other only to fulfill his interest. Secondary group are the example of secondary cooperation. All came in secondary group for their own personal advantage. Now we will talk about tertiary cooperation. When different individual or group adjust to the situation, keeping in mind their privilege, it is called tertiary cooperation. You have to understand very clearly here. Here the person cooperates with the other to approve the situation. It is particularly opportunistic when there is nothing to gain from the conflict between two different individual or group. They commit themselves to each other. You can say it is the adjustment. If someone don't want to do conflict, then we adjust somewhere. That is why we cooperate. This is to say this type of cooperation is done to avoid conflict. That is very important. In the days to come, there are strikes in various resources and unit. Individuals have to take commitment with the authorities to avoid this strike and fulfill conflict. The approval here said like cooperation. Eqbal and Nimkov also discussed three types of cooperation, and always this this kind of question asked about type of cooperation, direct and indirect cooperation, who has given. Eqbal, Nimkov and Green has given how many types of cooperation. Eqbal and Nimkov discussed three types of cooperation: general cooperation, friendly cooperation. As a name, it is very clear, and differentiated cooperation. General cooperation, in normal cooperation, some people do similar work together, and similarly is found in the thought and behavior of such cooperating person. That is, when some people of similar attitude and interest do same thing together. Friendly cooperation. In friendly cooperation, the person cooperate with each other, the attainment of joy and happiness. The purpose of this type of cooperation to get joy and special occasion participate. Dance, singing, drama and gossip is an example of friendly cooperation. Dance, singing, drama. So, general cooperation, friendly cooperation, differentiated cooperation. In differentiated cooperation, a person perform unequal tasks for the same purpose. This is to say that different individuals serve the same goal, perform different type of tasks. For example, all workers engaged in the construction of building work separately. They cooperate each other. In the hospital, many doctors and nurses and peon, everybody is doing work for health, for hospital. cause of cooperation. Feature has highlighted several reasons for cooperation. He told that when some people have equal interest, then selfishly cooperate with each other. Second, you have to understand this. Second, some people get so mixed with their group that they are ready to sacrifice everything in the interest of the group. For example, the army personnel are unitedly cooperating on the border for their country. Third, when the people feel that there is a threat to their group, when the people of that group cooperate among themselves. When a war between two nations takes place, all the people of one nation are ready to cooperate with each other. In the end, Feature pointed out that the social structure is very important. Without this, it cannot be possible to maintain a social structure. Importance of cooperation. Cooperation is the mainstay of social life. Cooperation is very important in all areas of social life. Cooperation is an important place in cultural, social, economic, political, psychological field. There is facility to do any work through cooperation. A person encounter difficulties together, very good, difficulties together. This save time as well as resolving the problem. Save time, resolving. These can be the point for you. There have been many indicators today as a result of cooperation between different people, making our lives happier and simpler than before. Making life happier, cooperation creates a feeling of unity among the people, and the organization of society remains with the spirit of us, everyone according to their position and situation, has a group of welfare approach. Though these are the importance of cooperation. Now we will talk about the another concept, that is accommodation. And we will talk because our lecture will become very big, so we could understand conceptually clear, and you listen again and again, so that you could understand easily. Individual and groups have different interests in the society, due to which there is conflict between different individual or group. Conflict arises between some individual or group which is not good for any society. To avoid this situation, a person may quite change and modification in his behavior so that he can fulfill his objective and goal by reducing the opposition of other people. This benefits both sides. This process of reconciliation or reconciliation of two sides is called adjustment. It means to say that whenever there is a conflict between two individual and group people, from both sides try to reduce their conflict and adapt to the situation to avoid it. Accommodation is an adjustment between two people or two groups. Suppose two neighbors are quarreling or making conflict. This is the avoid of conflict. Adjustment, that is called cooperation or cohesion. Adjustment. Adjustment is not a permanent but instantaneous. This is done to overcome the current conflict. Must understand. This is for overcome to conflict. The definition of adjustment has been, accommodation has been given by many scientists. In a sense, accommodation is an agreement to disagree. According to McIver Page, the term accommodation expresses process by which human balance with their environment. And Eqbal and Nimkov, accommodation is a process. Accommodation adjustment is the same thing. Adjustment is a technique of accommodation. It's a process by which an individual and group prosecute each other with opposing action to establish groupism. According to Park and Burgess, accommodation is the natural result of adjustment. Opposition to opposing element in adjustment becomes regular for short time. This conflict ceases as an external action but retains its dominant power internally. It is clear from the above definition that adjustment or accommodation is the social process by which two opposing individual or group reconcile. That is adjustment. Is the process of establishing a balance between opposing force. Under this opposition and upward for present time by remain present internally. Therefore, Sumner called the protest cooperation or counter protest. This can be understood by an example. Conflict and tension arises between the mill worker and the mill owner. Consequently, the workers go on a strike. This stop production and owner's income. The production does not stop, so the mill owner and the workers make commitment in which both sides have transactions and both bring changes in their practice. This whole process will be called adjustment. So I think you could understand. Now we will see the characteristics of adjustment in a brief. Adjustment is an organizational social process. It is a positive process. In accommodation, love and conflict are found simultaneously. The method of accommodation varies according to the situation. The manner of compromise between two opponents varies according to time and requirement. The process of accommodation is conscious, must remember, because a person is ready to reconcile only after thinking, but its process also happens unconsciously. It is always going process. Individual and groups have to reconcile with every situation at all time. The process of adjustment is found in all society. It is also found religious, economic, political, social life. Type of accommodation. Here we will understand the type of accommodation. Gillen and Gillen have been discussed two types of accommodation. Adjustment between similar group, adjustment between unequal group. That is very clear. Adjustment between similar group, between friends, adjustment between unequal group, adjustment between similar group means if everyone is teacher, everyone in a similar position, everyone is in unsimilar, unequal. Importance of accommodation. In the present era, the importance of adjustment has become very high. By adjusting to a modern and complex society, the individual and the group harmonize in the society. We are realizing the importance of adjustment in this way. Through adjustment, the current resistance is eliminated and it helps to adapt in different areas of social life. So, adjustment is very important for our society. Now, the third one is integration. We will talk about integration in a brief. Integration is a social process in which different units of society are integrated and become complete unit. Integration is also a major process in cooperative social process. This is positive process, cooperative process. Through this process, unity is developed between the various systems of the social structure and social system in such a way that many different types can be met efficiently. In common parlance, integration means unity or attitude and equality of thought. The meaning of integration as a social process is different in sociology. Various scholars have expressed their views regarding integration. Eqbal and Nimkov, you must understand about one or two definitions, wrote. Integration refers to the book that exists between several units to a particular system found to develop. The point make it clear that integration is the condition of all the units of which a social structure or social system is formed, from which all these units remain connected to each other and fulfill their respective type. So Decisive unit, existential obligation, system of social stratification, system of power and right. This is called the Shah social integration. This is called social integration. If social integration and many conditions contribute, that is this another. If we can take the example of India, that in India there are so many religious groups, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai. They work together. They are united together. They are the social. They are the unit of social system, and they bond together, and they are integrated. They live together. That Glenn and Glenn wrote integration is an homogeneity organization. It is intended to say that the idea and values of group that make up society are not necessarily the same, but in their feeling, attitude and behavior. So here feeling, attitude and behavior is same. For Indian, we feel that we are Indian, our Prime Minister is same, our Constitution is same. In the same way, American feel that American are same. The feeling and attitude of behavior of a community is same. So it is integration. And after integration, we will talk about the dissociative process. After associative process, there is a dissociative process. In this process, we will talk about competition, conflict. Competition, that is very important and very popular word in New World. There is probably no such society in the world where it is not found. Society does not run only by cooperation. Let's make it clear, one of the consequences of achieving any objective of competition is better. Competition arises when certain people want to achieve limited goal. Must understand, there would be limited goal and many people. The concept of competition comes. There are limited means and achiever are many. Competition arises when certain people wants achieve limited goals simultaneously. Competition is a separatist social process. Under this, there has been a feeling of jealousy, envy towards each other in a small or large amount among the participating person. In fact, two parties try to achieve a common objective, but only one side succeeded in this endeavor. Competition is a worldwide social process, like cricket match or football match or table tennis match or tennis match. You can see that there are two parties and they want to defeat and want to win, want to get the cup, and that is competition. One would be winner and other would be loser, and in competition there is a limited goal. So we following are the view of the some prominent scholars here. Fairchild, competition is a struggle for the use of possession of limited goods. Sutherland, Woodward, Maxwell, competition is the impersonal, unconscious and constant struggle between individual or group for attainment of limited satisfaction. It is clear from the above definition that sanitation is competition is a separatist social process in which an individual or group applies for use of possession of limited goods. For example, there is competition among students to score high marks in the examination. You must remember this example. Characteristics of competition: two or more persons or group, impersonal process, indirect procedure, examination. A student could not understand who is his competitor, because everyone is trying for getting job, and everyone taking exam for getting job, but no one knows that who will get the job. Continuous process, lack of violence, universal process. You must remember these points. Importance of competition. Competitiveness is also essential for social progress in the same way as cooperation. Adjustment and optimization is necessary for society. Highlighting its importance, Visange and Visange wrote, we have full confidence that if cooperation get the job done, then the competition assures that they will do well. Competition makes person capable and smart. Every person has to get his place in society from God, and the person has to make effort to get the place of superior person in the society. So society cannot run only by cooperation. Competition has an important role in human society, has come so far in the race of civilization. In this context, Bogard has stated that pomegranate of logic development into linga struggle. Despite all these limitations, proper competitiveness is useful and ambitious for social life. So competition is very important, but there is a difference between competition and conflict. You must remember there is norms and values and laws in competition, but there is no laws, no norms, no value in conflict. There is no rule for conflict, but there is rule for competition. Competition and conflict both are non-cooperative process. Under conflict, an individual or group try to achieve its goal for suppressing or harming the desire, harming the desire of another person or group. You must understand achieving goal. Without goal, there is nothing. There is no cooperation, there is no accommodation, there is no integration, there is no competition, there is no conflict. Every process has some goals, and the goal of conflict to harm somebody, suppressing somebody's desire. A struggle or conflict is not a product of new era, but it is found in every society and time to time. Conflict can be of different types. When a person uses violent means to achieve his or her goal, the conflict starts. Social, cultural, religious, economic, and between individuals or group in society. Conflict arises due to psychological reason. The definition of conflict has been given by many scholars. Some key definition we should understand. According to McIver-Page, social conflict involves all activity in which women dispute against each other for any purpose. There is purpose. Gillen and Gillen, conflict is the social process in which an individual or group seek to achieve its goal by directly threatening violence, threatening violence to opponent. This definition emphasizes violent method. Now, according to Green, conflict is thoughtfully the attempt to resist, retaliate, suppress the will of another person. Resist, retaliate, or suppress. In this definition, conflict was considered a deliberative process. You must understand, it is asked in many competitive exams like NET. Has gone, protest, and force stop have been called conflict. In this sense, it is contrary to cooperation. And conflict and cooperation are not separate elements, but rather different stage of process in which both elements are equally involved. Now we see the characteristics of conflict here. Two or more person or group deliberate process. You must remember, question will ask in MCQ in UGC NET that in conflict one of these processes is not involved. Suppose it would be that unconscious process. No, it is conscious, deliberate process, personal process, emotional process, intermittent process, universal process, and different forms. So, form of conflict. McIver page discussed two types of conflict, direct and indirect. As McIver page also called about cooperation, direct and indirect cooperation. In the same way, McIver page told direct conflict and indirect conflict. Direct means face-to-face conflict, and indirect means Cold War. Glenn and Glenn discuss 5 types of conflict: personal conflict, racial conflict. You must remember the types of conflict that has been asked in examination, and with the title you could understand. Here you can read also. Personal conflict, racial conflict, class struggle, and political conflict. There are 2 types of political conflict: national conflict, international conflict. Kingsley Davis described 2 forms of conflict. You must remember: partial conflict, total conflict, total struggle. Partial conflict, this type of conflict is found in opposition to the means of achieving goal after agreement between 2 parties. Total conflict, there is no commitment and achievement of goal, physical strength or force is used. Davis has described only difference in absolute conflict and partial conflict. Importance of conflict. In fact, conflict is as important to society as cooperation. In this context, McIver page says very important thing: society struggle as a mixed cooperation. In the word of McIver page told that society is a cooperation crossed by conflict. That is, the balance of society is also based on the integration of both of. No society where conflict doesn't exist, no society. Every society has social cooperation as well as conflict. It connected the people of the group when was English rule in India. This country was divided into various states and territories. Here many kings were running their rule under the British rule, but the freedom struggle did not only connect the various provinces and territories of India, but also worked to unite different sects and castes. Kosar has laid great emphasis on the functional initiative of the conflict. Without a struggle, good work cannot be done in society. A struggle for existence. Conflict is absolutely essential for egalitarian society. Today, every class which is rooted in the mainstream of social development is the result of their struggle. In fact, their struggle or conflict has accelerated the pace of social development. Other scholars have also highlighted the importance of conflict. Importance of importance. In fact, highlighting the importance, Reuter and Hart wrote, the end of conflict is the basis of self-consciousness and collective consciousness, as well as the reason for their development. It is meant to say that it is only through a struggle that members of society become aware and conscious and are aligned in the threat of unity. Conflict is sometimes required for both personal and social problems. Neither a person nor a nation or society can move forward without a struggle or conflict. But conflict over a certain limit is harmful. Many forms of conflict exist in society, and this is also permanent fact. A struggle conflict is necessary to remove social inequality, tyranny and corruption, etc. In the absence of this, one class exploits and continues to exploit the other. In this context, Karl Marx has said that the history of human society is the history of class struggle. Partial struggle to eliminate evil in society is beneficial. Partial conflict has always been happening in the society, but the use of full or open conflict is harmful. The conflict does not necessarily have to be violent. Major goals can be achieved through non-violent struggle, because Besenge and Besenge have stated more conflict is destructive and it creates more problem than solution to problems. Thus, it is clear that along with cooperation in society, conflict is also necessary. So I think your concept regarding cooperation, accommodation, integration, competition and conflict would be very much clear. So you must listen this and write some points and remember this, because always it is asked in all kind of competitive exam. Thank you, all the best.